Hill doesn't look a year older, but in fact he is. And John Surtees is determined to repeat his victory of last year. Bruce McLaren won the Guards International Trophy in 1964. Pole position goes to John Surtees, this time in a 6-litre Lola Chevrolet. Alongside him are the two 5.5-litre McLaren Elva Chevrolets of Kiwis McLaren and Chris Amon. And they're off. Once again, the Guards International Trophy is scheduled to be run in two parts, each of 30 laps, 80 miles. The winner to be best on aggregate. John Surtees, now recovered from the serious accident he had last autumn in Canada, storms into the lead. In his wake are Amon, then Graham Hill, this year in the Lola Chevrolet, followed by Bruce McLaren and the Lolas of Brian Redman, Australian Paul Hawkins, and New Zealander Denny Hume. End of lap 1, and here they come. Surtees' Lola, closely shadowed by Amon's McLaren Elva. Then Graham Hill, Bruce McLaren, Brian Redman, Paul Hawkins, Denny Hume, Frank Gardner's McLaren Elva Ford, Hugh Dibley, Lola Chevrolet, with the rest of the bunch in close attendance. Bruce McLaren, still holding 4th place, has made a tactical error. He was banking on wet weather, and he's fitted rain tyres, which make his car tricky to handle on a dry road surface. All the others have opted for dry weather tyres, and McLaren is soon to drop well back in the field. Keith St. John's McLaren Elva is having clutch trouble. Meanwhile, Surtees and Amon are pulling well away, and they begin to overhaul some of the back markers. But ominous black clouds are gathering. Perhaps Bruce was right in his hunch about rain. But no, the sun breaks through, and at 8 laps the order is Surtees, Amon, Hill and Redman. The pace is telling, and Julian Sutton's Attila retires. The vigilant Brands Hatch marshals are quick to use the blue flag to warn a driver that a faster car is about to pass. Denny Hume's Lola Chevrolet has sprung an oil leak. At 14 laps, Surtees leads Amon by 1 second, then Graham Hill in 3rd place, and a battle for 4th and 5th places between Frank Gardner and Paul Hawkins. And as always, Pat Surtees is driving the stopwatches impeccably. Graham Hill's Lola Chevrolet is sitting pretty in 3rd place, neither challenging the leaders nor being challenged from behind. But Chris Amon is hounding Surtees for the lead, never actually passing him, but constantly trying to. There he is, number 9. And so part 1 of the 66 Guards International Trophy comes to its close. Surtees beating Amon by a mere 1/5 of a second. Hill and Redman 3rd and 4th, both in Lola Chevrolets. The lineup for part 2 on the grid is based on the results of the first race. Threatening clouds just before the start have already persuaded most drivers to fit wet weather tyres. One notable exception to the general trend, once again being Bruce McLaren. Having suffered from having rain tyres on a dry track, he's fitted dry weather tyres this time. If it keeps fine, Bruce will be at a big advantage. On lap 2 is McLaren, Amon, both in 5.5-litre McLaren Elva Chevrolets, then Surtees, 6-litre Lola Chevrolet, followed by Hawkins and Dibley in similar cars. But whoops, what's that? Someone's overdone it. It's at South Bank Bend, but all's well, can't quite see who it is, but I think he's held it quite nicely, and he'll be all set to rejoin the chase soon. Only 2 laps completed. 28 more laps still to go, and to McLaren's delight, it seems likely to keep fine. And what's this? Lap 8, and the bright sunshine has dramatically changed into a cloudburst of near-monsoon proportions. The red flag goes out. Stop immediately. Only once in a blue moon is a race called off, but so flooded has become the track that to continue would be highly dangerous. Already out on the back part of the circuit, McLaren has plugged a bank. What a blow for the crowd, estimated at over 30,000. But what a relief for Graham Hill, because his Lola Chevrolet is devoid of 2nd and 3rd gears. But obviously it would be lunacy to continue under these conditions, with the cars aquaplaning on their huge wide tyres, and with the motor race rapidly becoming a speedboat regatta. Besides lives being in danger, these bits of machinery cost big money. The red flag is welcomed by everyone, including Jeff Breckle in his Brabham climax. With the weather now better and the track drying out, a conference is called and drivers' views obtained. It's decided to continue. The 9 laps covered are to be scrubbed. The second part is to be restarted from scratch and to run for 20 instead of the scheduled 30 laps. And so, for the third time today, the Union Jack unleashes the big bangers. 2 cars fail to get away. One of them is the 4-wheel drive Felday driven by Jim Clark. His push start earns him a 1-minute penalty. Part 2 becomes almost a carbon copy of Part 1, with Surtees and Eamon seemingly tied together by a proverbial string. But at the moment, it's Hawkins in third place ahead of Hill. As the race draws towards its close, Surtees and Eamon have built up a healthy lead from Hill, Denny Hume and Frank Gardner, Paul Hawkins having dropped back to 6th position. Again, just 1/5 of a second between Surtees and Eamon, with Hawkins 5th, a lap behind. The checkered flag to mark the end of a checkered race, with Brands Hatch now hanging out its dampness to dry in August sunshine. Surtees once again is the winner, with an overall average speed of 94.68 miles an hour, and on aggregate, the others finished in the order Eamon, Hill, Gardner and Hawkins. And once again, careerers have brought drama and excitement to Brands Hatch. John Surtees, although not quite marching like a guardsman, nevertheless is the hero of the battle. And preparations are made for a victor's fanfare. Actress Liz Fraser is here to present the Guards International Trophy to John Surtees, who must in some ways be feeling just a twinge of regret, because this race has been the swan song of the big bangers. Next year, these Group 7 sports racing cars are to get the chop from British circuits, and presumably go into exile in America and elsewhere. Nevertheless, few, if any, of us here today will readily forget the sight of such brilliant drivers as Surtees, Eamon and Hill battling with each other and yet superbly controlling their immensely powerful machines in fair weather and foul. Max Wilson is there too, as winner of the up to 2-litre class in his Brabham climax. As Surtees' Lola is loaded onto a trailer, let's remember that its 6-litre engine embraces close on 500 brake horsepower. And embracing of another nature is not really out of place, even in public on such an occasion. Start up your stopwatches, Pat. A lap of honour for John Surtees, accompanied by Max Wilson, winner of the up to 2-litre class. Although Surtees and Wilson are rightly applauded, let's not forget how Chris Eamon hounded Surtees throughout those 132 miles of racing. Proving also that there's little difference in the performance of a 6-litre Lola Chevrolet and a 5.5-litre McLaren Elva Chevrolet. And the race proved another thing too, as evidenced by Bruce McLaren's exploits. Namely that if large cars, such as these, are to be driven fast in safety, they must be shod with the correct tyres for the prevailing weather conditions. And so, as this year one phase comes to an end, the door is opened to a new era for the Guards International Trophy.